name's Sue Goodwin. I'm a medical herbalist. I've been working with plants for 30 years and I live in Hebden Bridge. So today we're going to be making a comfrey oil and a comfrey ointment. It's a very simple process which can be adapted for use for other plants, for example calendula flowers or hypericum, St. John's wort. So it's a basic method of making an infused oil and then taking that through to the next stage, which would be an ointment or possibly a cream. So it's quite a simple procedure. The steps would be, first we go and collect our plant material and then bring it into the house and start to get that ready to make the oil. We'll be cleaning the roots today of the comfrey, chopping them up, putting them in an oil, making an infused oil in the double boiler. Then that will be strained. That process takes about 3 hours, so that takes a little while, and then straining the oil and then adding beeswax to that to make an ointment that will set. The beeswax is the setting component, and then that's poured into jars. So that's the process we're going to be looking at. It's the end of October, and today we're going to be making a comfrey oil and ointment. It's autumn, so now is the time that we dig up roots. It's the time the energy of the plant starts to go down into the earth. So perfect time. So comfrey. So this is the comfrey. The leaves are starting to die down now, as you can see. Comfrey is one of our most strong healing plants. You can use it internally and externally. Today we're going to make an external preparation of an oil and an ointment. Internally it's used for any kind of healing, like ulcers, colitis, emphysema, lung diseases, and externally it's used for sprains, bruises, broken bones, ulcers, anything on the skin that needs a strong healing power. So I'm going to dig up some of the root, putting on my handy marigold gloves. So, comfrey is very tough, and it won't harm the plant if we break any of the roots off, because it will regenerate. So there's a piece that's snapped off very easily. And you can dig around in the soil a bit to get the bits of root out that are snapped off. There's a nice bit there. And though this looks quite aggressive on the plant, it actually doesn't mind, because it can heal itself very, very quickly. So it'll come up fine next spring without any problem. So that's probably enough for our purposes now. We're just making a little bit of ointment. So I'm just going to put the soil back and tread it in a little bit, and that plant will be absolutely fine. Its regenerating powers are enormous, so it won't mind. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is clean up the comfrey roots. So I find an ordinary scrubbing brush is really good for this, one that I keep just for this kind of job. So we get as much of the soil off as we can, clean the roots up, and then they'll be ready for chopping. So what we do now is just give the comfrey roots a little bit of a dry, because we're going to be making the oil next, so we don't really want too much, any extra moisture in apart from what's in the roots themselves. So drying them off a bit with a paper towel is good. So the next thing is to chop the roots up. So we want them reasonably small. You can see inside the roots it's very mucilaginous and slimy. And this is one of the properties of comfrey, is that it's very soothing. This mucilage is very soothing and healing, for example, to any ulceration in the gastrointestinal system, like ulcers.
When you say mucilage, for those who don't know what mucilage is, what do you mean by mucilage?
Mucilage is a carbohydrate form that is very soft and gives a protective coating on mucous membranes.
So that's a bit like...
Softening and soothing are the words that come to mind with comfrey mucilage. So,
and is it okay to have the earth still on the roots?
Better not to. So when you're straining an oil, any little odds and ends would come out, but it's better to have the roots as clean as you can.
And like, you can obviously see the dark bits on that. Is that just the skin? That's not...
Yeah, that's not dirt, that's just the dark colouring
Okay.
of the skin of the comfrey.
Right, okay.
That's probably enough now for what we're doing.